Get it.
There we go. Hello, welcome to episode 34 of Ring Takes. Of course, I'm always joined by Brian and Lewis here as we continue our pathway here. I don't even know where we're on the pathway. I guess Survivor Series. Would we say Survivor Series the big one, or
you mean Crown Jewel?
Crown Jewel.
Now let's just
you lied, Dan. You said there was no more Saudi Arabia, but
I didn't see it on the schedule, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Bam!"
Yeah, I was like, "Who's mad?"
How about
going back?
How about we just say the Royal Rumble for now, because we don't know what the concept is going to be for Survivor Series. Because if they do decide to go with the brand split concept, I'm going to flip my shit. So let's just go Royal Rumble.
I think it might be happening. I think it might be happening. The way they're building up these tag teams and stuff like that now, all of a sudden out of nowhere in these factions, and how strong they're getting, I'm like, they're going to do something.
So where the hell do you put the Judgment Day? Because they have
both titles.
Yeah, both titles. So what?
It's the free bird. It's the free bird rule. They can go anywhere.
Yeah.
One minute they're on Raw, one minute they're on Team Smackdown. They can go in between. They flip a coin for Dominic Mysterio. Everything works out.
Tom, we're gonna stay here.
We'll get into it then.
Well, yes, this is episode 34. We're going to be talking about The Rock's return to WWE and Jade Cargill's departure from AEW, as well as much more. But first, let's get into it. The Rock returns to SmackDown 1 week later after me and Lewis go to SmackDown. Thanks, Rock. Thanks for not coming to Boston. Thanks, Rocky. Thanks, Dwayne. Showing up a week later in Denver and not
in Boston. That was a coincidence.
I'm just saying this. We were in Boston for SmackDown. No Rock. No John Cena. What the hell?
If you want to get technical, the John Cena one's the run you really should be mad about, since that's his home.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just saying. And then next week, Denver gets The Rock and John Cena.
Out of all cities, Denver.
Yeah. I mean, they are NBA.
I mean, it's a nice city, but
I guess they are NBA champions. But yes, The Rock returns, comes to the ring, and has an altercation with Austin Theory, getting introduced basically by Pat McAfee. They were hyping up the crowd. Austin Theory's trashing the crowd. Pat McAfee leads it into "you're trashing the people." That brings out The Rock, which was a huge surprise to everyone. No one expected that. I guess with the writer's strike, The Rock decided to stop in for a little bit here. But what do you guys?
Use some extra change.
He'll use a little extra change there. Make a little stop in Denver, not Boston apparently. But what do you guys think about The Rock coming back and returning with that confrontation with Austin Theory?
Let me go through how Friday night went for me. So before Rock had came out before Rock had actually come out and Pat McAfee was out there with Austin Theory, I was having dinner, eating Chinese food. As soon as Rock's theme came up, I looked up, knocked my damn plate on the floor. The fact that theme, when I heard that, if you smell theme song, come on, and it still gets me to this day, where I literally have to stop what I'm doing and like look up to see what I'm doing. It shows how much of an impact The Rock has had on my life. And now, if we want to break the actual segment down, The Rock, he comes out, stands on the stage, which seems like an eternity, just taking in all the cheers and stuff.
Hey,
the whole time I'm watching this, I'm thinking that they must be screaming in the headsets for him to hurry the hell up, because that whole segment with him, I think it was like a whole half an hour. That whole segment was with Austin Theory and Pat McAfee. It was a long segment. So he comes out, Well, I mean, Lewis, you talk all that stuff about Austin Theory, but he's matched up with Austin. Now he's matched up with Rock. So they see something in this. They see something in this guy.
Edge. Is he the new Miz?
Edge as well.
Is he the new Miz?
John Cena.
Is he the new Miz?
And Cena as well.
The new Miz.
So they see something in this guy.
Is he the new Miz?
I didn't have to say anything else. Brian laid it out for me. 4 Hall of Famers he's in the ring with. I'm just saying.
Yeah, this guy.
How many wins? What one? One?
Hey! I just saw you guys big up the Miz.
One.
I just saw you guys big up the Miz for months.
How many championships has the Miz had?
Okay, he's been in WWE for like what, 20 years, 15 years? Austin Theory just got there, what, 3 years ago? Give him time. Give him time. Give him time.
Is he gonna get that roadway? Do you really see a clear pathway that he's gonna get that?
Not now. Not now.
So what's it gonna take? So what's it gonna take?
Early.
What's it gonna take? Hey, you want to be with all these superstars and lose every single time and get
he beat John Cena at WrestleMania, damn it. He beat John Cena at WrestleMania.
And what did that lead to?
Unfortunately, with WWE booking,
losing the U.S. title,
sometimes winning
to Rey Mysterio
doesn't really mean much, especially with the way they book sometimes. But Rock coming out, it was your typical back and forth. The only thing I didn't like was the fact that because SmackDown is on Fox and they were having that crowd interaction, having the crowd chant "You are an asshole" at Austin Theory. I mean, Fox pretty much cut out the audio for the entire exchange, which I didn't like, but understood. But other than that, it's always a pleasure to see The Rock. I mean, Daniel, if you want to blame anybody for him not coming to Boston, blame Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes, because that's the only reason why Rock was out in Colorado in the first place, because he was on Pat McAfee's show earlier in the day, and I guess Boulder and Denver is probably like a couple of hours away from each other, so they just went to SmackDown.
Oh wait, hold on, Brian. So all I want to hear from Dan is that he hated this segment because The Rock is back, and all my negativity has caused this, so he should not be happy whatsoever. He should not be happy whatsoever.
Are we really just
going to
cut through
on TV?
The Rock's return? Are we really just going to cut through The Rock's return?
I'm just saying. I'm saying in your response, I don't want to hear any type of happiness because you keep blaming me for anything dealing with The Rock, and that look, your negativity is gonna bring him back. And now that he's back, I don't want to hear any type of happiness.
I'm just saying. I'll say this about the segment. The Rock coming back was a nice surprise. The music hit. It was a surprise. Hey, I'm talking about the surprise factor of it. Mm-hmm. The surprise factor. It sucked that we only got him for really one segment. I thought he would have came out later on the show. He did not. But it's always nice to see The Rock. But to get to Lewis's negativity, you brought this into existence.
How?
And the story of Cody Rhodes, WrestleMania 39 now looks worse, especially with The Rock going on Pat McAfee's show saying, hey, the match at WrestleMania 39 was set and it was going to happen, but we couldn't make it happen. XYZ. It makes it look like Cody Rhodes was a last-minute replacement. That's what that makes it look like, that whole – and takes away the everything that was building up for Cody Rhodes at that time and stuff like that. So that didn't help for that aspect. And then he says, hey, if WrestleMania 40 is there, like he's alluding to WrestleMania 40 being that time the match happens. And it's like you kind of just spearheaded everything rather than having a natural build to it, rather than having a surprise to it. And now there's in a position where if that match with Roman Reigns doesn't happen, you now like pull the rug from everybody else. You know what I mean?
So what I'm because I've heard one of the dudes on Busted Open Radio, I guess that same point. He was like, how are you gonna disrespect Cody like that? How are you gonna? I don't think it was bad that he said, hey, we could have potentially had a match at WrestleMania last year. It's done is done. So that honestly doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's fine. But I'm just saying from that standpoint, now looking back, it's kind of like, oh, that was kind of like just like option B.
Here's the thing. I don't mean to interrupt you, Louis, but I just want to bring up this point. Did Rock specifically say when that they were talking about bringing them in for WrestleMania 39? Because we gotta remember, Cody Rhodes was hurt. So if they were talking, like maybe 2 or 3 months after Cody had gotten hurt, and we didn't know if Cody was even going to be available for the Royal Rumble or be available for WrestleMania, then
that probably also was the thing. If he was not going to be healthy for the Rumble, it's like who else is big enough to go against Roman Reigns right now? You know, obviously Cody coming from that injury, that probably was the mentality, I would say, to be like, hey, this is why this will almost happen. But I haven't watched the interview yet, so I don't know what he said, but I have read like the things that he said. But back to the point I was saying, I'm like, the only reason I don't have a problem with him saying like, "Hey, we could do it at Wrestle." I feel like he's just talking like, "Hey, it could happen." But if you look at what happened on SmackDown, it didn't allude to anything involving Roman Reigns. He literally just did that Austin Theory, said hi to John Cena, and left.
Nothing else. Nothing else.
So, kind of on how Brian said his Friday night went. I did not get a chance to see to watch it live, so I was like, I'll watch it later. And I didn't know it was gonna be a big SmackDown, so I'm going on social media and I just see a thing like a meme of Roman Reigns like, oh, when you hear The Rock is back. But I didn't put two and two together. I was like, wait, what do you mean The Rock is back? And it's just Roman going like, so I was like, let me go watch SmackDown right now. And as soon as I heard the music kick, I was like, ah. And again, it's always great to see The Rock, and it's crazy to think it's been how long since the last time he was here. I don't even know. Probably a good 4 or 5 years, something like that.
So I know we didn't see him obviously during the Thunderdome era during the pandemic.
Because Theory said him and that they had an interaction. So when was that?
I don't know when that was, but I think it was before. I think it might have been before the pandemic.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Might have been before, maybe the year before.
Definitely a good 3, 4, even 5 years ago. So it's definitely been a long time. And the crazy thing is, I don't know. I'll give The Rock this. He's probably one of the few. I mean, a lot of these guys, hey, they're up in age. Obviously, not everybody's gonna have a fucking 6-pack and be super jacked, but the man still looks like he can still go anytime, whenever. We also do know when, in the sense of Shane McMahon, one bounce off the ropes and you're gonna blow out something. So honestly, it doesn't matter how much you train. One misstep and you're out of it. But
yeah,
he looks great. I don't know, the interaction. I honestly thought he was gonna talk more shit to Austin Theory, and it was kind of just more like, you need to listen to the people. I will give Austin Theory credit with him going, it doesn't matter what you gotta say. I give him that because that kind of is like, whoa, has anybody ever said that to The Rock on live TV?
Mick Foley.
I was about to say Mick Foley has.
Hey, they were a tag team, doesn't count.
Yeah, they were.
But yeah, it was definitely great to see that, and I even loved the segment with him and John Cena. That was like literally the two giants that have come out and transformed have been able to cross over into the mainstream media and everything, and are so big and probably brought so many more eyes to the WWE. So yeah, it was definitely great to see it.
Yeah. But yeah, just it's always great to have The Rock back. I felt like he should have been there a little bit more. I felt like he should have been there at the end of the night, but just him coming back with Austin Theory and Grayson Waller and Pat McAfee, it was just good to see him back, and the back and forth there. Again, Austin Theory being in the ring with these Hall of Famers. They keep trusting him to be in these rings with the Hall of Famers. So hopefully that's a positive sign going forward for him. But we'll see what happens with The Rock, because it's like, then again, just the setting up of WrestleMania 40 potentially, if it is Roman Reigns, or is he just going to be there at WrestleMania 40? It is a big one. It's in Philadelphia. It's WrestleMania 40. It's a nice round number. So definitely we want to see something happen with this bloodline storyline, especially. I think it's funny because it's always like Roman Reigns is not in the building for this. You know what I mean? Like,
is he coming back?
Even if
Roman's been gone for like a good month, that feels like
since SummerSlam.
It feels longer. It won't say July.
So it's been like 2 months. It's been like 2 months, but it's like we're not really getting anything in terms of what's happening with him, what's happening with the storyline. And I get it, because you want to give him a break. You want to give that little moment at SummerSlam a little bit of time to breathe. Obviously, what they're doing with Jay and Jimmy, trying to set that up, whatever's going on there. But it's like you're having these monumental moments on SmackDown. John Cena comes back. Freaking The Rock is there. Family, this whole thing with the bloodline thing, doesn't acknowledge it. Paul Heyman doesn't acknowledge it. Nobody comes out. Like, it's like there's nothing there that they're trying to work and try to put these two together right now. And it's like, is that by design, or are they really not crossing each other's paths?
I think that's why I feel it was kind of just like a one-off. You know, if it was gonna lead to anything else, they would have some little confrontations, even not even confrontation, even just like passing by and looking at each other like
something.
So that's why I don't feel there's anything set in stone. And you know, with that strike, actually, I think actually has ended, honestly. So it could be. I've heard that. I don't know if it has.
The last thing I saw was that they revoted their president to continue to be the president of that association, like of the agent for them.
I haven't really been following it.
So So with that, I mean, the strike could end literally like that in a moment, and then go back to those commitments. But as far as more movies, exactly. As far as the interview with Pat McAfee goes, one thing that I remember him saying was that, like, as far as him being available to come back with WWE, he said injuries aren't a concern, and he said even the scheduling is not really a concern because he said he controls the majority of the schedule. He said what he really wants to do that's really keeping him is just the opportunity to have a really great story that doesn't really like interfere with other things. So from that standpoint, I think Rock is smart enough to know that technically this WrestleMania is Cody's WrestleMania, assuming we get there because the story is there. You can't wait another year for WrestleMania 41 to finally give Cody his moment. I mean, there are even fans right now that are still even saying that WrestleMania 39 should be his moment.
I'm just saying they expressed them.
Exactly. Like our host.
I'm just
saying, how did you say he didn't win? He didn't win.
39 was his moment.
Yes. So you can't push that to WrestleMania 41. It has to be the shit.
No, I mean, yeah. I mean, that's what I've been saying. That's what I've been saying forever. I said with him win the Rumble, and of course, everyone doesn't like that because it's too predictable. But I'm like, the object is to get him to WrestleMania 40 where he can win the title. The natural way to do that is the Royal Rumble. That's what always been my thing. But in terms of what The Rock and what Brian just said, it makes sense for Cody Rhodes to be the guy at WrestleMania 40. I don't know if The Rock's going to be there at WrestleMania 41 or if he's going to be there at WrestleMania 40 in what type of capacity. But it's like, if there's ever a time to do it and put the belt on the right guy right now, it's WrestleMania 40. You have to do it there. Like, that's why,
if they were gonna, I honestly feel that Cody has to be this WrestleMania. And if anything, if you want to have The Rock involved, literally just have him like host WrestleMania or something, and there you can. It doesn't even have to, as long as it's not for the title. Like, The Rock does not need a championship match at this point at all whatsoever, because he's not going to be even if he were to get a freaking Brock schedule.
I just want you to remember that you said that.
Huh?
I just want you to remember that you said that.
Said what?
The Rock doesn't need a title. I just want you to remember you said that.
1804.
just want to.
What's wrong with that?
And that's another thing. That's another thing. Like, this feud is good enough. You don't need the damn world title. You could tell the same story with Roman Reigns and The Rock without the title.
That's what I'm saying. If they ever do anything with Roman versus The Rock, the title should not be involved whatsoever.
I think it should. I think it should.
Well, you think he should go over The Rock?
You want?
No, that's what I've always thought. That's what I always thought was going to happen before Cody Rhodes came back. I was like, the only person that's going to come back if they're doing this tribal chief type thing in their family, who else is the leader? The Rock. The Rock is the guy. Like, The Rock is the main guy out that whole family. Whatever Roman Reigns is doing right now.
It's gonna be Solo. You ain't gotta say nothing.
Solo and Jimmy and Jay are
you ain't gotta say nothing.
Apparently, I think Solo is gonna get John Cena.
Yeah, that's gonna happen. Street champ. Street champ. But no, just in my eyes, I'm just thinking if they want to put all the stories that we heard about Roman Reigns and what WWE wants to do with these long title reigns, they want to immortalize gods and stuff like that. How do you ascend this guy into that stratosphere of all elite, even though I think he already is in terms of what he's done in this run? But how do you make it go over the top? You haven't beat The Rock. You haven't beat the top guy and his family member and hold claim to the real tribal chief, which I thought was the whole thing with the storyline, of course, with I thought the brothers and Solo Sikoa were going to face Roman Reigns in a fatal four-way. And I'm like, he beats them, stamps himself, and then he thinks everything's fine, and then The Rock comes back. That was my whole thinking if that was going to happen or anything like that, or if Cody Rhodes was going to come in and beat him, because the bloodline would officially be done by then. But it's like, that was my thinking. Yeah, everything's just in limbo right now. And it's like, if they were going to do anything with it, I feel like it has to be for the championship, because that's the one thing Roman Reigns like admires. Like, that's the one thing that matters to him in this world. And The Rock to come in and try to take it away from him, that's the battle. That would be the battle.
And see, this is what I said, and I said this a while ago. I was like, I'm telling you, to drag out this bloodline storyline, it's too long to have it go. And I feel like that's where they're like, well, we kind of don't know what the hell to do. Let's just separate them, and we'll figure it out down the line, until Roman comes back. That's why I said, like, these pay-per-views, they don't need Roman right now, whereas you have Fastlane, don't need Roman. You have Survivor Series, is never usually a title match. It's just the whole champion versus champion.
Yeah, but you need Roman for that.
That's what's going to happen or not. We don't know.
You need Roman for that. You need Roman for Survivor Series. You need him for Survivor. That's the one. That's one of the
him versus whoever.
He's going to be on the team. Whatever setup they do, if they do a brand supremacy or anything like that, or a team or anything.
But we all know brand supremacy don't mean shit. We know the sole survivor doesn't mean shit. So
hey, Randy Orton was the sole survivor like 3 times in a row.
It wasn't Dolph was sole survivor, and what happened to him?
And there were stakes on that match too when Dolph won it. That's the crazy thing about it. That's the 1 year when they did the Survivor Series match where actually there were stakes involved.
Was it the whole authority thing, right?
The authority.
The authority. Yeah, that was. And then I love the video. When they did it right.
I love the video of Wrestling Regret with that. He goes over the authority and shit like that. And he goes over that, and it's like, yo, it's so hilarious how he goes over it.
But that's what I mean. Like, Survivor Series is never usually like titles are on the line type thing. It's just the whole like champions versus champions, whatever. Then you have the 2 groups, and then that's it. So that's why that is like nothing's really gonna happen in Survivor Series, So, and then you got more papers. So I'm just like, to basically hold this all off till Royal Rumble season, WrestleMania season. It's like
they're gonna do it.
We're all like, the wrestling community, is all like, what the hell is, like, the whole Jimmy shit just makes no sense. Jay, I like what they're doing with Jay. I feel like they're giving him a solo push, but it just put everything that he just went through on the back burner. And then Jimmy's, and I don't get this whole, we're trying to get both Usos in the Judgment Day, and the Judgment Day is going to take over the Bloodline. And it's like, so are you forgetting about the Bloodline? That's all about the Judgment Day. It's like, you're not tying up any loose ends at this point, or giving any explanations whatsoever to what's coming next, I guess. So we're just all in the dark, I guess.
Yeah, especially with Jay and Jimmy. It's like, now we're trying to figure out how they fit in this equation. Of course, we see Jimmy trying to get back into the Bloodline. And now we got Jimmy kind of flirting with the Judgment Day a little bit, trying to prove himself to the Raw locker room. Getting involved with Drew McIntyre and stuff like that. So we're seeing that at least continue, right? Like, there's like a residue from the Bloodline right now that's kind of trickling down, trying to figure out where to go. But yeah, we don't know.
Jay's thing makes the most sense, because obviously, he's broke away, he's on his own shit. Yeah, it's like a good storyline for him, as in, Bloodline caused all these problems. So there's so many matches that he can have at this point. But the whole Jimmy thing is like, I'm just a heel to be a heel, but I'm still kind of part of the Bloodline. Maybe I should join. It's all over. It doesn't matter.
It's floundering.
Yeah, it's just not logical whatsoever.
Yeah, Jimmy's just confused too. This is
just a confused individual.
He's trying to find himself.
Yeah,
apparently.
That's probably going to be the storyline reason that they use. Like, he's been trying to find himself. So he's all over the place. He doesn't know what he wants to do.
Or I guarantee he joins the Judgment Day and then just screws them, and then they beat his ass out. Can I come back to the bloodline again, please?
I don't know. Like I want more for both of them, of course, but it's just like the way they're doing it right now. It's like I don't see where Jimmy's going.
No, I feel like they left him like on a fishing line, just like
Solo. Like to me, Solo's above him now. Like Solo is like. Yeah. Like I expect more out of Solo right now than I expect out of Jimmy, and it's just like that wasn't supposed to be the way that was supposed to work. But whenever they split up, well, yeah, go ahead.
Even him like feuding with AJ, talking shit to John Cena, it's just like, so you're a heel, but yeah, you did a heel thing, but it was because you were trying to protect your brother, so now you're just a heel.
It doesn't make sense.
Jump the shark. I mean, that's what it did. The feud jumped the shark because now we're questioning each component now outside of Roman Reigns not being there. We're questioning Paul Heyman. You're questioning what Jimmy's doing. You're questioning Solo. So that's what I'm saying. The storyline it jumped the shark.
Yeah.
Hey! Paul Heyman said we're only in the third inning of this.
Kurt Angle checked them on that shit. And you don't know what the hell that's bullshit, Paul. You know that.
But you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
He's like, I know how you guys book. I know how you guys book. You guys don't know what you're doing right now. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Of course, trickling out of the bloodline, we'll get that